I'm 82 years old, and there's something I need to tell you before I go. I don't mean tonight or tomorrow. I don't know when. But I can feel the edges of my life now. The days are shorter in a way that has nothing to do with the sun. People stop asking what your plans are when you reach this age. They start asking how you're feeling. That's how you know. I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I'm telling it because I spent most of my life believing I still had time, and I was wrong. I sit in a small living room most afternoons. The television is usually on, but I rarely watch it. It just fills the silence. There's a chair across from me that hasn't been used in years. Sometimes I catch myself looking at it like someone might walk in and sit down. No one does. It took me a long time to understand that a quiet house isn't peaceful. Not always. Sometimes it's just empty. When I was younger, I thought life was something you built carefully, brick by brick. Work hard, be responsible, provide, keep moving. That was the plan. That was the promise everyone seemed to agree on. I believed that if I did all the right things, everything else would take care of itself. In my 20s, I didn't think about time. Nobody does. Time felt endless, like the sky, something that would always be there above me, something I didn't need to look at too closely. I met my wife when I was 24. Her name was Elaine. She laughed easily. That's the first thing I noticed. Not her hair or her eyes, her laugh. It was quick and unguarded, like she trusted the world without thinking about it. We didn't have much money. We rented a small apartment above a grocery store. The floors creaked and the pipes made noise at night. But we were happy in the simple way young people are when they think the real struggle is still ahead and they're ready for it. I worked long hours even then, not because I had to, but because it felt right, like I was laying the foundation for something important. My father worked long hours. His father did too. It never occurred to me to question it. Elaine didn't complain, not at first. She would wait up for me with dinner. Sometimes it would be cold by the time I got home. I remember her reheating the same plate again and again. I used to tell her she didn't have to wait. She would smile and say she wanted to. Back then, I thought love was steady, permanent, something that didn't need much attention once it was there. We had our first child when I was 29, a boy. I remember holding him in the hospital and feeling a kind of fear I'd never felt before. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't make noise but settles deep in your chest. I told myself I needed to work harder now. Not less, harder. That was the beginning of a habit I never broke. I missed small things first. Bedtimes, dinners, school plays, the little moments that don't feel important while they're happening. There was always a reason. A meeting that ran late, a project that needed finishing, a call I couldn't ignore. I told myself it was temporary, just a busy season, just a few more years. Years move quickly when you call them temporary. My son stopped asking if I'd be home for dinner. He started asking his mother instead. I noticed it once and felt a small sting. Then I went back to work the next morning and forgot about it. We had a daughter a few years later. She used to run to the door when I came home, wrap her arms around my legs like I had been gone for months. I remember gently peeling her off so I could put my briefcase down. I didn't see the moment when she stopped doing that. You don't notice endings when they arrive quietly. In my 40s, things looked good from the outside. Promotions, a bigger house, vacations we barely had time to take. People respected me. They used words like dependable, dedicated, successful. I wore those words like a coat. They kept me warm for a long time. At home, the house grew quieter. Not empty, just quieter. Elaine stopped waiting up for dinner. She would leave my plate in the oven, covered with foil. A small note sometimes. Warm it for 10 minutes. I told myself this was normal. Marriage settles. Kids grow up. Life becomes routine. That's what I thought stability looked like. I didn't see the distance forming. Not really. Distance doesn't make noise when it grows. It doesn't slam doors or shout. It just stretches slowly until the space between you feels natural. There was a night I came home late and found Elaine sitting at the kitchen table. No television, no book, just sitting there. I remember asking if everything was okay. She said, "We don't talk anymore." I told her we were talking right then. I meant it as reassurance. She didn't smile. I wish I could tell you that was the moment I understood. It wasn't. I thought it was just a rough patch, something that would smooth itself out when work slowed down. Work never slowed down. My son left for college. I helped him pack the car, boxes and bags stacked carefully. I remember standing in the driveway after he left, feeling something I couldn't name. The house felt larger, too large. I went back inside and checked my email. My daughter left 2 years later. Her room stayed the same for a long time. Elaine kept the door closed most days. I didn't ask why. Some questions feel inconvenient when you're busy. The years after that blur together. Birthdays missed because of travel. Anniversaries celebrated quickly, squeezed between obligations. Conversations that stayed on the surface because deeper ones take time, and time felt expensive. You don't wake up one day and realize you're drifting. You just look up years later and notice the shore is far behind you. The turning point wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no slammed doors. Just a quiet afternoon when Elaine told me she had been feeling alone for years. She didn't cry. That's what I remember most. She sounded calm, like she had already said all the emotional parts long ago and was simply stating a fact. I asked why she never told me. She said she had. We stayed married. People like us did. We didn't believe in giving up. We believed in endurance, in duty, in staying. But staying and being close are not the same thing. She got sick in her 70s. Nothing sudden, just the slow kind of illness that arrives politely and never leaves. Hospital visits, medication schedules, quiet evenings in separate chairs. I was home more by then, finally. I sat beside her often, held her hand, watched television together. I thought this was the time we would reconnect. But time doesn't always circle back the way you hope. One evening she asked me if I remembered the apartment above the grocery store. The creaky floors, the noisy pipes. She smiled when she talked about it. I said of course I remembered. She nodded and said, "That was my favorite time." I wanted to say it was mine too. I wanted to tell her everything I had been too busy to say for decades. But the words felt heavy and late in my mouth, like trying to repay a debt with coins you found in your pocket. She passed away on a quiet morning, the kind of morning that looks ordinary to everyone else. Sunlight through the curtains, birds outside. Nothing dramatic. I sat beside her bed and held her hand after she was gone. I remember thinking how small her hand felt, how long it had been since I really noticed it. After the funeral, the house became silent in a way I had never experienced before. Not quiet, silent, a different thing entirely. I kept expecting her to call my name from another room, to ask what I wanted for dinner, to remind me of something I had forgotten. The mind takes time to accept what the heart already knows. My children visit when they can. They have lives, families, responsibilities. I don't blame them. I taught them how to be busy. I showed them how work comes first. They call every week. Sometimes we talk about the weather, sometimes about their jobs. We love each other. I know we do. But love stretched thin over years of absence feels different than love that grows in daily sunlight. This is the part that can't be fixed. Not really. You can apologize, you can understand, you can wish, but you cannot go back and sit at the dinner table on a Tuesday night 20 years ago. You cannot attend the school play you missed. You cannot hear the words someone stopped saying because they felt unheard. Time does not reopen closed doors. It simply builds walls where doors used to be. I am not unhappy. That might surprise you. I have good memories. I had a long marriage, a career, children, a full life by most measures. But fullness and closeness are not the same thing. I used to think regret was loud, dramatic, something obvious. It isn't. It's quiet. It shows up in empty chairs and unanswered questions, in the way a house sounds at night. If you're listening to me now, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I wouldn't know how. Everyone's life is different. I only know what I didn't understand when I was younger. I thought love was patient. I didn't realize it also needs attention. I thought there would always be another evening, another weekend, another chance to say the things that felt difficult or inconvenient. I thought providing was the same as being present. I was wrong about that. If this story means something to you, you can share your thoughts. I read the comments sometimes. It feels like company. I don't have many years left. That isn't sad. It's simply true. When I wake up in the morning, I feel grateful for the day and a little surprised. The chair across from me is still empty. I still look at it without meaning to. I don't know who will sit there next. Maybe no one. That's all right. I just needed to tell you this before I go.